Everybody, Rich Lang with Prep U down here in the bunker, bringing you another video about firearm training. I was going to make this a range tip of the week, but I figured that it was just a little bit more important and probably something that a lot of people don't think about. And as you can tell by the title, which you've already clicked on the video because of the title and because of being Prep U, and basically training to draw your firearm without firing. I know that sounds very weird. I mean, it actually goes back to, it's kind of strange for me because my father, who was a police officer, always said, never draw your firearm unless you're going to fire. And, you know, that makes perfect sense. But there are situations where drawing your firearm will end the assailant coming after you, or coming after you or somebody that you love, because they second guess themselves, or your firepower is more than what they have. Maybe a flaming spear. Gee, who'd have a flaming spear? A knife, a club. Maybe it's 3 attackers and it's just you, and all they have is their bare hands, and they know that they're not going to win. So training by drawing your firearm, if you draw, this is kind of weird. I know I said this before, but it's kind of weird because if you draw, your intention is to fire. But there is a moment, probably 2 or 3 seconds, not long, maybe 4, when there's that brief moment where the assailant stops, okay, and turns, or just stops and just kind of backs up. A lot of people say, well, shoot him anyhow. Well, here's the problem. In today's society, there are cameras everywhere. And those cameras will be called upon because you will go to court if you fire. That's just the way it is. And there are different angles. And just recently, let me get my notes here. Just recently, somewhere in here, yeah, and like I said, in a world where there are video cameras everywhere, your action may be filmed and used against you, and maybe it won't be. But if you do it right, if your action's filmed, then you're good. But you know, let me just go through my notes and explain to you. When you train, and you're trained to either, you know, holster, draw, and fire, or grab from the counter and fire, you're training your brain. You're training your brain for it, you know, to automatically do things. Well, in this case, you don't want to train your brain to automatically pull and fire, because there's that, like I said, there's that hesitation from the attacker that it is perceived by some, could be perceived by some if it's videotaped, that hey, he disengaged, she disengaged, and now you're the aggressor. We all know about the 21 feet, that if they, you know, they come within the 21 feet and you feel threatened, and you say you feel threatened, okay, be sure you say you feel threatened, then you have every right to fire if you feel that that assailant is going to keep coming, okay? But you don't have that right to fire if they break off the assault. If it's pure and plain as day that they stop the engagement and you fire, you're the aggressor, okay? And it's been proven in court time and time again that now you, who were defending yourself or your family, ends up being the one that's going to prison. It's crazy, you know. So what happens when you perceive a threat? You pull your firearm, and that threat backs up, turns, or runs when he sees your firearm. Well, we all know that in the time it takes to pull the trigger, that assailant can turn, and now you've shot him in the back. Or they've gone sideways and you shot him in the side. Forensic is going to show all this. They're going to investigate, so you got to be careful. So if you train to always shoot and the threat stops and you shoot, you may be charged and found guilty of manslaughter. What you need to do is train for a perceived threat. all right? Pull your firearm, acquire your target, and hold for a few seconds, okay? If you have them. You know, that's something, every situation is different, all right? You may not have those few seconds. The person may be on top of you and they're not going to turn around, then obviously you're going to fire. You know, so you want to see, once you pull your firearm, if they're going to disengage. What's the reaction of the assailant, all right? During those few seconds, this is a great time to check your surroundings. Use your peripheral. See if there's another assailant. If there's another assailant, even if that person in front of you, you have to decide, are you at threat from the person to the side and the person in front? You may have no choice. You may have to fire. Don't get tunnel vision. But we're talking seconds, you know, and those few seconds are going to be judged hours and hours of examination, cross-examination, and questioning, and film, and stuff like that. And now you kind of see what policemen go through and everything. You know, another thing, during those few seconds, or at some point, you have to say, stop, I have a firearm, stop, I will shoot. Only takes a couple seconds to do that. So if you train by saying that, that's your time frame. And if they don't stop, fire, if you still feel threatened. It's absolutely important. You know, yeah, I know it is better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6, but in reality, carrying a firearm is a big responsibility, you know, and it's your duty to train, and it's your duty to train in all situations, be it, you know, definitely life and death situation where they're coming, they're not stopping. But you also have to be ready just in case they disengage. Because remember, I mean, those few seconds that you pause, 2 or 3 seconds that you pause, may change the whole scenario of the situation where, how did I put it here? Let me read exactly how I put it. I said, those seconds of pause to reassess the situation may save you 20 years in prison. And that is exactly what happened to a gentleman down in Texas. He was assaulted. He was knocked to the ground. He pulled his firearm. But after talking to the jurors afterwards and watching there were 3 angles of videotape, and they said he had every right to pull his firearm. He was assaulted. But once he pulled his firearm, in the video, the assailant started backing up and disengaging, and he fired. The jury found him guilty of manslaughter, and he's spending 20 years in prison. Now, is he contesting the jury's decision? I'm sure he is. I mean, I would, you know, it's state of mind and stuff like that. But so when you're training with everything else, train to either, if you can, remember, if you're going to train holster draw, make sure where you're training at allows you to do that. Or just come up from the tray in front of you, pull up, in your mind, or just say it. Just say, stop, I have a firearm. Those are the seconds that you need, and then fire. What's nice about that too is you're going to have a better time, more time to acquire your target and where you want to hit, 2 to the body, 1 to the head. So that's it. That's the training for this video. And like I said, we called it drawing your firearm without firing. So hope you give that training a try, and I hope it works for you. And I hope it also gets your brain thinking that you don't always fire when assaulted. All right. Take care. Thanks a lot. Let me know what you think about the video. If you have any comments about the videos, we appreciate it. If you like the video, please like the video. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. And please pass this on to other shooters that you know, especially new shooters that are carrying. Because it might just help them out, because I don't think you get this kind of training in many classes. So thanks a lot. Take care. See you next time.